To start off my final project, I'd like to read 3 quotes from the cuny-niceb.org website. And those 3 quotes are: Emergent bilinguals are a diverse group of students who face different challenges and possess different strengths. The second one being, when young people arrive to U.S. schools from other countries, they may feel overwhelmed by all the new things they encounter. As teachers, we can also find it challenging to meet the diverse needs of newly arriving students due to their high variable experiences, backgrounds, and levels of comfort in a school setting. And the third one being, it's okay to feel nervous about hearing other languages other than English in your school and classroom. Now, obviously, a new teacher should feel comfortable in their own classroom, and so just for a new teacher to identify like newcoming emergent bilingual students, there can be a number of ways you can identify these emergent bilinguals, and that is by the nation of origin, so where they come from, the age at which they entered the U.S. school system. So this could actually affect that like how English proficient they are, and how proficient they are in their home language, and then the language or languages they speak at home. Like for example, Spanish is a very popular language for kids to speak, but they could have different dialects from like Mexico, or they could be from like Colombia or the Dominican Republic. They're all different types of dialects. The comfort with academic environments. So it's just like a one-on-one conversation that you would need to have with a student to ask them what they're comfortable with and whether they're comfortable in taking tests and like work in English, or if they need extra assistance with that. The access to schooling in their home country. So this would be a good idea to do a little bit of research and be able to help identify what they did in their home country before they came to the United States. Comfort with their home language and English school-based literacies. So it's like I said before, it's like a good idea to ask them if they're comfortable with taking the test, or like writing a paper in their home language or English, depending on where they're at, based off what they came in with to the country. Where they study English in their home countries. Now, I know most countries do study English as a second language since it is a global language, but you just have to also make sure that, like, if they're young in the elementary level, maybe they only spoke in, like, say, for example, Spanish or French, and that they are not very comfortable with English yet. Socioeconomic factors, so where they are based off, like, where they live and stuff like that as well when they moved here. Racial, religious, and ethnic identities. It's pretty self-explanatory. So, like, if they have like culture and stuff that you want to like bring into the classroom, that it would be good to help them feel more welcome that way, and like just hang up some stuff maybe like in Spanish or whatever language they speak, as well as some stuff about their culture too. And then to the extent of their ties to their family, friends, language, and culture abroad. And so this is just as well as like acknowledging that their culture is not a hindrance, but rather a benefit. Now, here are some ways to support newcoming emergent bilinguals literally from day one. These are all from the CUNY NICEB website, and I thought that these were very helpful in the 3 steps that they shared, so I just wanted to share them with you guys. And so the first step is to identify and get to know the newcomer emergent bilingual. And so this will be like an initial interview with all the family members and the student or students, which will enable the school to learn more about their new emergent bilingual family, as well as get to know about their educational histories, their language experiences, their family life, and just to better understand their strengths and needs as to what the teacher needs to provide for them in the classroom, as to what is expected in the classroom, and whether they will need additional help from other resources outside of the classroom or inside the classroom, as well as how the school can just be very welcoming towards them. Now, the second thing on the QNICEF website was to create a bank of welcome to school resources. So this is essentially like kind of like a welcome kit or a resource bank of like materials that could help the emergent bilingual family to help them like orientate better with the school. And so like, in these welcome kits, there would be sort of like a folder which is created for the parents containing information in the family's home language, just on like school policies, along with like pamphlets and other helpful community organizations that can just help the parents better understand what their student is going to school for, and then also like how the school will provide for the student. On the other hand, other items that can be put in there, it can be actually for the student and not for the parents, and it can just be summarized in the folder in either the student's home language or in English, depending on how comfortable uh, the student is with English, and that is all found in the initial interview with the family. And so these items can include like worksheets that will like teach basic school like vocabulary and other just like kind of like low stakes activities for them to complete for like the first couple weeks, just to adjust to the new school, since it can be a very scary thing for a new student as well as the whole family. And so number 3, uh, they suggested that you share a welcome video, which I think is a great idea. Now, many schools already have welcome videos for newly arriving bilingual families, uh, as well as their students. But they're more generic, and they can always be useful. But it would be better for like the specific teacher or that specific classroom to create more of a homegrown video and to show them that they are welcome there and that they will be accepted, and it'll have more of like a personal touch for them, the student and the family. And lastly, I'd like to talk about community building within the school for the newcomer emergent bilinguals. So it can be very scary for a newcoming or incoming bilingual student to come to, well, any school space or any space for that matter, and feel like they're a part of it. So these are some ways where you can help them feel incorporated in the classroom and also help the classroom get adjusted to them and the new culture that is coming into the classroom. These are all, again, from the CUNY NICEB website. And so the first thing that they suggested was that newcomers and mainstream students are mixed together during advisory. And so this will help the students just be able to kind of like mesh together and be able to talk about whatever they want without being in a school setting, or have school topics be the topic that they're talking about, whatever language they want. So help them get adjusted to each other on more of a personal level between the students. And so the second thing they said is circle questions, like when everyone sits in a circle, paired with language stems to build students' socio-emotional vocabulary. And a sample of this would be what makes a good friend or a good friend is. And these will help to find kind of like what is expected of each student when treating a new bilingual student or a newcoming emergent bilingual is coming into a thing, and how they should treat everyone else, and how to define like kind of like a good friend and stuff. And so the third thing is strategic pairings between old timers and newcomers, and questions related to newcomer emergent bilinguals experiences, allowing newcomers to both learn from proficient language models as well as lead as experts on certain topics. And so this will help the old timers be able to help the newcomers get adjusted with the language, first of all, most likely being English here in the United States, as well as set the kind of like expectations of like the classroom, and it will help them give good insight as to that. And finally, last thing they suggested on the website was that newcoming bilingual students are allowed to participate in the circle, the circle exercise, in whatever language they like, at whatever pace they feel comfortable with peers or adults, providing a translation if they need to. And this will just help the kid become comfortable within the classroom with the other students, and then also be able to express their culture through their language, which will make them more comfortable than if they were forced to use English or whatever language is the dominant language in that country. And so it'll just help them become more comfortable with everyone else in the classroom. Finally, 3 quick key takeaways that you should have gotten from this video is you should be able to identify who is a newcomer emergent bilingual, how in your specific classroom from day one can you make the newcomer emergent bilingual feel more comfortable? And finally, how can you direct the class and other students to help them and yourself make the newcomer emergent bilinguals feel more welcome?